It's a really tough time to be a parent right now, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
You're going through it,
absolutely.
and it's going to get actually more difficult as they get older. And it's a tough time to be a boy. If you look at what's happened in the last 15 years with anxiety, depression, and the rates of graduation, you don't want to let people down.
Yeah.
Right? You don't want to let your coaches down. You don't want to let your teammates down. But it's the struggle that's important. Mm-hmm. It's the struggle that allows kids to grind and to get up and be resilient. You know, having the kids be able to self-advocate for themselves, to deal with their problems. Like those are really important skills.
Yeah.
Like if you weren't a resilient person, you probably wouldn't be selling the houses that you're selling right now.
Not a chance.
It's okay to fail. You're supposed to when you're a young man. But if you never get the opportunity, then you don't take that risk. You don't take that step. We actually changed the mission statement that we're going to develop boys into good men of strong moral character with conviction. We talk about that all the time.
We're here today with Jim Detora, better known as, I don't know, Mr. Detora, Coach,
Big D, whatever you want to call it.
Whatever you want to call it. We are here. So thank you for coming today. Obviously, I really appreciate your time. We're doing, our podcast that focuses on discipline, routine, lifestyle. Obviously, I have a lot of luxury real estate in there. In my life, you are the head of school of Avon Old Farms, private school in Avon, Connecticut, and obviously played a massive role in my life. Give a little laugh there, but
just a little bit.
Just a little bit. But Avon played such a big role. I wanted to have you on here and talk a little bit about, especially if you're a parent of a young boy or young man, if you are a young high school or college age young man, young boy, just talk about some of those things that you see, because you're an absolute expert. I mean, you've been how many years at Avon?
32 years at Avon.
32 years.
And I wasn't the head of school when you were there.
No, you weren't. No. So where did you go to college before that?
I was at Worcester Polytech.
Okay.
I studied engineering and math. And when I came out of high school, I actually had a really bad knee injury, and I knew I wanted to work with kids. I was coaching youth sports. And so that's how I got into teaching. And I was excited to be at an all-boys school. George Troutman gave me an opportunity. It was a perfect fit, and me and my wife have been there ever since. And it's changed a lot over 32 years.
Yeah.
It's a lot different than it was when you were there, but it's an amazing place for young men.
Yeah, that's wild. So what year? Do you remember what year that?
1993, the fall of 93.
Wow. And then what'd you start teaching there?
I started teaching chemistry and physics.
That's why I never had you as a teacher.
That's why you never had me. Taught a lot of calculus, computer science, higher level science classes.
Okay.
So
right.
Yeah, that's why I was only your advisor and coach. Yeah.
I was on the other side of the campus.
You were on the other side, and it's amazing to see you doing so well. It's exciting to be down here and being part of this. It's amazing success story for sure.
Yeah, thank you. So when my experience going in Avon, so there was like 400 students, I think, right? Correct.
You probably had about 375 when you were there. We're about 405 right now.
I don't even know how I got into Avon. I know my uncle, Tom, went there.
Right.
And I could play hockey at the time. So, nowadays, maybe not so much. But at the time, I was a decent hockey player. I was into sports. And somehow they sort of pushed me to get the opportunity there. But what an incredible place. I mean, I was a candidate for Avon, but certainly not headed towards, the prep school path. And, I was all over the place.
Right.
I mean, I owe Avon, a huge part of my success in my life comes from Avon, comes from you, and going through that routine. I remember my first day on campus. I mean, I was shocked. I was scared. I had seen things I'd never seen before. I mean, there was, how many nationalities or different countries go to Avon?
We typically have between 15 and 20, 23 different countries. So you meet people from all over the world. So if you're coming from a public school where you're just in your own town, it is eye-opening.
Yeah.
And the other thing is when you come in as a freshman, and then you see some of these post-grad football players that are twice your size, it's very intimidating.
I was going to mention that.
It's very intimidating.
I was like, yeah, I'm a badass hockey player. And then I'm like, okay, maybe not,
Exactly.
And then football, you're right. I mean, freshmen seeing a guy that's maybe a postgraduate going to play for, Florida State or whatever, you're like, okay, this is I'm in the big leagues now.
And you go to sports camp and little freshmen are out on the same field, and it's eye-opening.
It is. It's unbelievable.
It's humbling.
Yeah.
Which is important.
Totally. So for me, that transition was just like, it was mind blowing and very intimidating, but the staff and the faculty at Avon totally sort of gravitated towards me because they knew I obviously needed extra help. And it was,
That's why you were my advisor.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. You were my advisor. I mean, thanks for keeping me in school all those years. I really appreciate it. I remember, I'll never forget the story that me and a bunch of other hockey and football players, I think you guys realized our math wasn't quite where it needed to be. And I'm sure you guys had some sort of meeting and created our own class.
The Mr. Wick math class.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Scholars.
Well, you weren't going to WPI to study engineering.
No, I wasn't. Sure. No, I wasn't. But no, the transition was amazing. And so, I think Avon, like I said, I owe Avon just so grateful that I had that experience. And what always goes back to, for me at Avon is the routine, the support, camaraderie, having all of those people around you.
Sure.
So I know my routine at Avon was I had no time to do anything else but succeed. It was like I was almost coming in there trying to do anything I could to fail, and you guys wouldn't let me.
Right.
It's like, no, I'm doing this, or I'm not going to, like I couldn't. So how is Avon set up to dial in through a routine perspective? What would you say?
Sure.
Like, what do you guys focus on to really get this routine, down pat?
Well, free time can be the enemy, right? Especially for young boys. But I think it really goes back to building relationships with the boys that come onto campus. And I think that if you think about the need for mentors, and there's so many at Avon, and we've been doing it for a long time, we're just creating that trust and building that relationship with coaches, with teachers, allows us to help bring out the best in boys and really help them become really good young men, good men of character, and get into a really good routine. But you have to build that trust first. And I think that's first and foremost. But then once you do that, it is, Avon in life in general is all about routine and getting into healthy habits.
Yep.
And, through the advisor system and just keeping the structure of the program in place, you have to grind, right? And I think that's what Avon teaches kids to do, is to grind. And you also do it in a way you don't want to let people down.
Yeah.
Right. You don't want to let your coaches down. You don't want to let your teammates down. And like you brought up the word camaraderie. I love that at a boys' school.
Yeah.
There's so much camaraderie at Avon that you'd be the only one not doing it.
Totally.
Right?
Yeah.
And I think kids buy in. And once you buy in, you start to do some really healthy things, and then success starts to happen. And once you start to find success, it feels good.
Yeah.
And then you continue with it.
Yeah.
And I think that's like the recipe that we have. When you look at the kids that are freshmen, it takes a while, right? It doesn't happen. It happens at different times during that, 4 years at Avon. Some of it happens quick for some kids that are a little bit more mature, but for other kids, it takes a little time.
Yeah.
But it comes. They find success on their own level. And I think that's what the routine actually provides the kids.
Yeah. I mean, and also even like you said, focusing on it. So like, it's hard to get a school to create a class, to do anything for these kids these days. And you guys, when we were there, created a separate class.
Sure.
I mean, it's going above and beyond. And I think, so are your weekends still packed with?
Still busy.
What's a week? I remember the weekends for us were just like, Saturday was just it was like a Monday. I mean, it was just, we just all had what we do. What do you guys do on the weekends?
So weekends, we'll typically either have classes on Saturday mornings. We'll have a program. Like this past Saturday, we had a speaker come in and talk to the kids about, just character and being a good person. It was actually Nelson Mandela's grandson who was on campus. It was a great opportunity for our kids. But then from there, they go off to their sports and their athletics. And so typically you're not done until about dinner time on Saturday evening. So you're busy all the way through, which means Friday night's a little bit different. You have your study hall Friday evenings. And so, they have Sunday off. They have a little bit of downtime, but the routine is busy.
Yeah.
We have a saying like the days are long and the weeks are fast, right?
Yeah,
because you're just going, but before you know it, it's the end of the week. So we keep the kids busy. It's really important that they stay busy. It's important for us to stay busy. It keeps us in that routine too.
Totally.
There's really no days off.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty wild when you think about it. I just remember just never, I mean, a little bit on Sunday. I mean, I'm talking like 3 hours maybe.
Well, you usually had like a work crew to make up some work because of missed class or something.
So yeah, I mean, I don't think you do that anymore, do you?
We do them at 6:30 in the morning. Yeah. So we do them every day. Yeah. 6:30, 7:30.
So I found myself, mopping a lot of floors, doing a lot of extracurricular activities.
Hard stuff.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I think back to Avon. So for me in my career, it was Avon. So it took me like 2 years to really get going. Obviously, when I first came in, I was all sports. I thought it was great at the time because I was playing football, hockey, lacrosse, whatever I could do. It was great. Took me 2 years to really say, okay, wait a minute, I could start studying as well. Like for me, it was all sports in the beginning. And then I saw, hey, it's kind of cool, to do well in class and learn things. So I had one of those gradual sort of progressions where it was freshman year, sophomore year, then it started clicking, my last 2 years there, which was great. But the routine, I have fallen back on Avon's routine so many times in the last 20 something years. It's, whenever anything gets tough or it's almost impossible unless you have a dialed in routine to stay on it. I mean, how do you personally stay on it? I mean, you've been doing this, 30 years there?
32 years. And it's been the key, right?
Yeah.
You have to have a healthy routine. You have to make sure that you can keep up with teenage boys, which is not always easy to do.
Yep.
But it'll evolve too. Like you go through different phases of your life. When I went to Avon, I was just a bachelor. Yeah. And obviously wanted to get ahead and work really hard. Then you have kids, and that changes everything.
Oh yeah.
As you know, right now. But then I'm at a point now where my kids are graduated college and they're off on their own, and so that's another different routine. Yeah. So your routine is never your routine, but you always go back to the basics of creating that routine. And I think that as you get older, you get a little bit wiser and you get a little bit more in touch in terms of taking care of your own self and your own personal health, which I think a lot of people, especially when they graduate and go off into college, they just work, and they think that's going to get them ahead. But sometimes taking the step back is actually the healthy thing to do. And then you're better at what you're doing.
Totally. I mean, we were having that conversation before. I think a lot of people do that, and you did it as well. I mean, I went, it seems like 15 plus years of just around the clock, dinner meetings, out to dinner, meeting for drinks. I feel like it was almost every night of the last, 15 years. Which is, did I do a lot of business and was it successful? Yes, but there's other ways to do it. I could have said, hey, let's meet in the morning, for a coffee after the gym. I spent a lot of time and a lot of late nights and just running hard. I was always working out and doing something, but like, if you don't have the full package, it's almost, it doesn't work.
Yeah, you can't burn the candle at both ends, as my dad would always tell me. And taking care of yourself, if you don't take care of yourself, you're no good to anybody. Yeah. Right? At the end of the day, you're going to get tired, you're going to get run down, you're going to get sick, you're going to be aggravated all the time. Yep. And so taking the time to work out and to get enough rest and to just, what I tell my leadership class at Avon is just, be bored. Like just be with your thoughts, and it's really helpful and healthy for you. Yeah. And we're too busy almost today. And I actually will put it in my calendar, like just no meetings, or just go for just to get away from the grind of it all, because there's always going to be something to do. Yeah.
And I mean, on a personal level, your routine, although you have a dialed in routine, it's I'm
up early.
I don't mind texting you in the morning.
No,
I know you're up and ready to go. I mean, so does it start with the gym, or you're the head of the school. You've been there 30 years. You're doing something right. You have a very, important position, taking care of and running thousands of young men. I mean, it's, and running the business of the school and everything else. Sure. So does it always start with the gym?
It starts in the gym. I open the gym basically in the morning. I'm the first one there. Me and my associate head start early. You know, we get in there. I'm in the gym by 5 o'clock every morning. And then, you know, we go through our routine and we're in the office, I would say by, you know, 7 o'clock, you know, 6:45, 7 o'clock. Just making sure we're ready for the day. Like we go to the weight room, we work out. We don't talk business.
Yeah.
You know, that's our time to just get our workout in, get our sweat, just get going. Then when we get to the office, we talk and look at the day and the routine and the things that we have coming up.
Yeah.
Go see the kids for breakfast.
Yep.
You know, interact with some of the boys. My advisees come to my office and check in, and sometimes it's doing some math and some physics on the board. Sometimes it's just having a good time and talking about the games on Sunday or whatever it is or whatever's coming up. Then it's, you know, you get into the routine of the day, you know, teach my class. And it gets busy.
Yeah.
You know, some
I mean,
days
it's like
just,
every
day
it was
it's the
like,
same thing. It's a grind.
It is. I mean, I remember you guys had us so dialed in that if we wanted like a snack, we had to like time it up. Okay, it's going to take 5 minutes to get there, maybe 10 minutes in line, 5 minutes back, and then I can get back to class.
Correct.
I mean, it's like,
unless you had Mr. Wick's class, he was a little more lenient.
oh yeah, we did. Yeah, you know, that was.
You
very,
just had to bring him something.
Yeah, if you brought them something, you were okay.
Right.
Yeah,
exactly.
absolutely.
But then they go right from class. You get basically a half hour to go get ready for sports.
Yeah.
You know, you get back from sports, you got to clean up, and then you got to go to dinner, and then after dinner you got extra help, and then you got study hall. And so there is a rhythm to what happens.
I also think like going back a little bit to, you know, looking up to mentors and leaders within the school.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, for me coming in playing hockey and other sports, I'm looking at players that are going pro, are going to any college they want. And that, you know, especially with the hockey program is one of the incredible programs at Avon. Mm-hmm. But every year you've got super major, I mean, the best in the world, basically.
Right.
So that helps. You know, you watch the way they're acting. Everybody's in a coat and tie. Like it's you know, they say like surround yourself. You know, you're going to be as good as your 5 best friends or your local circle. I mean, you're in this group of like-minded people who are all grinding at the same time. Right.
And they're all boys too, right? And so again, going back to that camaraderie, it's there, but also you don't have all of the social pressures of having girls in classes.
Yeah.
So kids, it's okay to study. It's okay to, you know, be in the corral. I think you sang in the corral, right, when you were there.
Yeah.
And right, it's something you would never think.
My
you
wife
would
still
do.
can't believe it, by the way.
Yeah. Well, don't do it now for us, but there's not those social pressures, right?
Yeah.
And I think that goes a long way. And look, going back to being intimidated, when you're a freshman going into the weight room with some of those kids, it's hard to get started. But what I love about Avon is those kids that are a little bit older and a little bit stronger actually help the younger guys.
Always.
And that's a leadership opportunity that the older kids have to teach the younger kids.
Yeah.
And the younger kids will never forget that.
Yeah.
Right.
No,
and then they do it when you get older.
Totally. I always remember, and you know, everybody's looking each other in the eye. Everyone's dressed properly. Everyone's moving and shaking. There's nobody laying back. And there's so many different people, you know, from different places of the world. It's like, it's inspiring just to be there. Right. But I do remember, you know, it's a learning curve, but you guys have it set up. So it's almost just easy. Mm-hmm. And obviously most parents don't want to send their kid away to school. So I was a boarding student. How many day students do you have there?
We have about 100 day students. Okay. About 300 boarders.
Okay. Yeah. So I always hear it because now that I have kids, 5 and 1.5-year-old, I would never send my kids away, or it's going to be so hard to send my kids away, which I understand now. I get it. But I think the lessons that you learn from that and what you're actually doing for your children is just incredible. I mean, even now with a 5-year-old daughter, all the distraction in the world, you know, Netflix, YouTube, birthday parties, all this stuff, and that doesn't go away.
No.
So you hit high school and it's the same thing. Right. So I think to be able to get dialed in, and I just go back to what I'm trying to create in my life, and what's important to me is that routine. You know, every day you have something that you're doing that could be relaxing, like you said. So, you know, it's such an important thing, especially today with social media and everything else, to have that.
There's no doubt, and Avon has evolved over the 32 years I've been there. but we've had plenty of parents come in and with that same attitude, like I'm never going to be able to send my kid away to school.
Yeah.
But they get on campus and they see what the community is all about. You know, you get young men looking at them and saying, hello, can I help you? And shaking their hand. And they want that for their sons.
Yeah.
And it's a tough time to be a boy.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, if you look at what's happened in the last, 15 years with anxiety, depression, and the rates of graduation, it's a really difficult time for boys. And Avon knows boys. I mean, that's what we do.
Totally.
And so that's why I think we have a niche in the market right now. And I think that parents just want at the end of the day, parents just want what's best for their kids.
Yeah.
And I think many of them understand that this type of education for them is really important.
Yeah. It doesn't hurt your facilities. I mean, every time I go, like, what are we dealing with here? I mean, this is like professional or like the best facilities you could possibly get. The gym is better than any gym. It's nicer than any gym anyone will see.
Yeah, I don't have to pay my membership for a gym that's better than most people pay for.
It's unbelievable.
It wasn't that way when you were there.
No, it wasn't.
It's actually come a long way. It used to be a lot smaller, but it's like everything else. It evolves, right?
Yeah.
And the need to have a top-notch facility is important, especially when you have a lot of great athletes, like you said earlier. But it's also part of their routine, right?
Yeah.
You go back to routine. Like I go to the weight room, I'm there at 5, and by 6:30, there are teams in there working out.
Oh yeah.
We have lights down the fields where lacrosse kids they'll tell me, when you go to the gym, can you turn the lights on because we're going to go have captain's practice.
Yeah,
it's like,
that's awesome.
They're serious about it, and in a different way than you guys. I think the worst thing you guys did was just sneak into the hockey rink to get a little extra skating before tryout.
It wasn't great about that.
It was awesome, but
and by the way, you guys always knew we did it.
Correct.
I mean, come on, like,
well, we had to keep you
we're gonna
safe.
Sneak into the rink, turn the lights on, and have like a mini practice. Like,
look, you guys, we had to let you have some fun, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, the facilities are great. What do you have going on for sports right now? What are the, I know the hockey, I believe, is doing well right now.
Hockey had a big win yesterday. We had Westy Monday, which is a big rival game against Westminster. It's on a Monday, so both schools can, send all their kids, and they sent about 200 kids over. We had the Avon Army there. A big win, 6-2 win for us. I was watching it on live stream. But hockey's going really well. I mean, we're number 1 in New England right now. I'm knocking on wood.
Yeah.
But basketball's doing okay, and wrestling. So there's just lots of opportunity.
Yeah, you have
for
squash
kids.
too, right?
We have squash.
Yeah.
We have a great squash facility, which is a great game for kids.
Yeah.
Who, especially if it's an off season, because it's just your agility and quickness, and it actually works on a lot of skills that kids need.
Yeah, for such a relatively small school, there's a lot of athletic teams. I mean,
absolutely.
It's kind of remarkable how many teams and good teams come from such a small amount of people.
Yeah, we have 4 hockey teams. We have 4 lacrosse teams.
Yeah,
4 basketball teams, 5 soccer teams.
Tennis,
it's just
like track.
Everybody, I think competing for young men is really important.
Yeah,
it gives you structure. It puts you in a routine. You're less busy. You have to really budget your time well. So when you think about routine, when you're competing on a team, on athletics, it actually is really helpful.
Totally.
It's when you're not doing that, and you take some kids now with the specialization, they're not competing every season. Yeah. And so those kids can get out of a routine because they actually have more free time. And the more free time you have, the less structure your days have, which can be, it can be dangerous.
I think at that age, it's very
dangerous at that age. Yeah.
So are you seeing, what will, obviously most athletes are a one sport athlete now just because it's so specific. Are they doing other things, or what else can they do? I mean, can they do like track and field, or is there something else they can move over to, or is it just strictly that sport?
A lot of them will do a conditioning program, a structured conditioning program. Yep. We actually have, again, how things evolve. We have a strength coach at Avon, and he's in the weight room every afternoon, and he's putting programs together for the athletes. But like you said, when you were at Avon, there were very few kids who didn't compete every season.
Yeah.
Now the norm is, 1, maybe 2 seasons kids are competing.
Yep.
And they're playing, hockey, lacrosse year round on club teams. And so they go away on some weekends and they'll travel all over the place. But it's not necessarily giving them the right kind of structure that they need. I think it's more healthy for kids to be competing, with their buddies at school and that camaraderie, and it just really helps with that routine.
Yeah. I mean, I remember when we were there, an offensive lineman who was getting ready to play D1 football was holding a lacrosse stick. I mean, it was pretty wild.
Cool.
Yeah, it was awesome. It was cool.
Yeah.
So what about like the sciences? I mean, I think the last time I was there, I walked into a room and it looked like this, I looked like it was a robotics room or something.
Sure.
Crazy. What's going on with that? I mean, you keep me away from that room.
Well, yeah, that all, we brought that on after.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of what happened was, kids, as they're trying to think about what they want to do, where they want to go. One of the questions that when I was in some of my different roles in academics was, what is engineering all about?
Yeah.
Because kids were trying to figure out if that's something they wanted to do. And so we started a whole engineering program and robotics program.
Oh,
so,
did you play a role in
I did.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
That was sort of one of my sort of things I was really excited about when
Awesome.
I was provost. And we created an engineering program, and we started with just a couple different classes, and now it's evolved. Like we have aeronautical engineering, manufacturing engineering, we have capstone projects, we have all the intro to engineering classes. We have it down at the Forge. We took it over the water tower underneath
Wow.
Brown.
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot of spaces, and we got a lot of people excited about it. We got people in the engineering world that have donated like top world-class manufacturing equipment
Really?
that our kids are working on. And it's
That's
incredible
amazing.
to see because they're so creative.
Yeah.
And it gives them a great opportunity to learn what it's all about and decide whether or not they actually want to study that in college.
Wow, that's incredible.
Again, so that's part of the evolution that you
Yeah.
have to go through. I mean,
Yeah.
it's
I wouldn't have been
program.
in that class either.
You probably would have been. You probably would have been in the intro class because it's a hands-on class.
Okay.
And think about it, like boys love to touch and do, and,
Yeah.
and so a lot of kids will actually take
Building something. That would be good. Yeah.
They do the intro class, and there's different avenues around that, and so it's been something that kids who maybe weren't really good at science would take the engineering class and actually enjoy it because it was like the woodworking stuff. The kids love to build stuff.
Yep.
So there's an opportunity there.
Yeah. Yeah. Very cool. I wouldn't.
Engineering sounds scary.
Yeah, it's scary. It gives me anxiety thinking about it.
You're sweating right now.
Anything you taught gives me anxiety.
Right.
The good news is you were smart enough to not even attempt to discuss it with me.
True.
As long as
I knew your limitations.
Yeah.
But I will say, you started and it was a struggle at the beginning. But you ended up on the honor roll. You learned how to grind in the classroom. You took on some leadership roles. You were a monitor in the dorm.
Yep.
So it works. Right?
It does.
It works.
It would have never happened if it weren't for you guys, because what happens is aggressive kids like myself and friends and
Biscaldi and all that,
exactly. Yeah. You're aggressive with whatever you're doing. So if you're going to be bad, you're going to be aggressively bad. If you're going to mess around, you're going to aggressively mess around. You're not going to do it half-assed. So it's like, I needed to push that energy into the right direction. And if it, you especially being my monitor, I mean, you and people like you, if it wasn't for you guys, it wouldn't have happened.
Right.
I would just been another kid that had an opportunity, that lost it, failed, and who knows what.
Well, at the end of the day, like when you build those relationships with young men, they don't want to let you down.
No, they don't. Yeah.
And you certainly, by the time you were a senior, you weren't going to let down me, Coach Driscoll, Coach Gardner, Mr. Wick, or any of those
you
folks.
couldn't. Yeah.
You couldn't do it.
Yeah.
You couldn't do it. Yeah. And so that's the magic of it, right?
Yeah.
And look, I come down to Florida, right? South Florida, I call and you always make time.
Of course.
We always make time.
Yeah.
And that happens all over the country.
Yeah. No, it's a really special place. So I want to just ask you maybe this last thing is, what do you see? And this goes out to the parents out there. This goes back to what we said earlier, the students that are working now. What are some of those traits that you see, because you've seen thousands and have taught thousands? and you have firsthand knowledge. I mean, you are the expert, probably one of the world's best experts.
I don't know about that.
No, but if you think about it, 400 kids a year, 30 years, I mean, you're talking a lot of students.
Do the math.
Yeah, do the math. I won't do it, but you can. What do you see? What are the traits of successful where you say that kid's got it? He, we're still going to help him, guide him.
Sure.
But he has it. And I don't know if this comes from, students that come from wealthy families or not wealthy families. What do you see there? I think that's an important thing to focus on. And how, if they don't have it, how do you get it? Can you get it?
Well, I think that first and foremost at Avon, I think teaching boys to be good men is really important. Respect in this world is sort of gone away, and it's really difficult. So that's number one priority, right? We actually changed the mission statement that we're gonna develop boys into good men of strong moral character with conviction. We talk about that all the time. Most kids don't have it right off the bat.
Okay.
Most of them, it takes some time. It takes some mentorship. Like nobody's gonna figure it out all by themselves in this world, and you gotta have people that you can trust. And Avon provides a lot of that.
Yeah.
But the people that are going to be successful are the ones that are going to get in that healthy routine that you talk about, buy into the program, right? They're going to listen and going to take advantage of the knowledge and wisdom around them. But really, the people that have the interpersonal skills and know how to relate to each other are people that are going to be successful.
Okay.
And in today's world, it's really hard because we're almost antisocial with the phones, and actually they're a necessary part of all of our lives. There's no doubt about it. But teaching our boys how to use them appropriately is really important. Teaching them that we're not going to walk around with our head down. We're going to keep our head up, and we're going to say hello to people.
Yeah.
And we're going to shake somebody's hand. We're going to look them in the eye, ask them if they need help. Those are learned sort of skills that we taught when you were there.
Yep.
Right. And we still do it to this day. But the kids that are going to be successful are the ones that are going to grind. They do hard things, right? They get up when everybody else is still in bed.
Yeah.
Right? They're going to the weight room early.
Yep.
And they're going to just find their passion, and they're going to work towards it. And it happens at different times for different kids. But you always have a feeling when they graduate and walk across the stage, like, that kid's going to do some really great things for humanity and in this world.
Do you think does financial background have anything to do with that? So it's just, you can see when they're there, whether they come from a wealthy family, not so wealthy family. Is it, do we just put that on the side when they're there, or is there a trend there, or is it just like, is there anything parents can do now, with young men or young boys to make sure, like, how do you become a grinder? How do you become, like, is it able to, can you learn it?
Yeah, I do. I think there's a lot of things that you can do. I think it's a really tough time to be a parent right now, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
You're going through it,
absolutely.
and it's going to get actually more difficult as they get older. But I think, having the kids be able to self-advocate for themselves, to deal with their problems. I mean, we used to call them helicopter parents, right?
Yeah.
When you were there. Now they're called snowplow parents. They don't want their kids to struggle at all.
Yeah.
But it's the struggle that's important. It's the struggle that allows kids to grind and to get up and be resilient. Like those are really important skills.
Yeah.
Like if you weren't a resilient person, you probably wouldn't be selling the houses that you're selling right now.
Not a chance.
Right?
Yeah.
And the problem today is, like, people are afraid to fail.
Yeah.
Again, going back to my leadership class, we spend a lot of time conquering fear of failure. It's okay to fail. You're supposed to when you're a young man. But if you never get the opportunity, then you don't take that risk. You don't take that step. You don't work that extra hard, do that extra set that you maybe should do. And so parents need to let their kids go through that process. And I think that's sort of lacking. It's okay if they get a 65 on a test. That means they're going to work harder the next time.
Yeah.
Don't call the teacher and say, my son, needs extra time, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Like, let your son go talk to the teacher.
Yep.
Let your son figure it out.
Yeah.
Because if you don't allow them to figure it out, they're never going to be able to do that. They're going to rely on that.
Yep.
And at the end of the day, that's not what we want. We want to teach kids to be resilient. We want them to get knocked down and get back up, right? And to me, that's the hardest part with the technology is they can reach out to parents like that, right? And if something's not going their way, and it's hard as a parent when your son or daughter calls you and you tell them, well, okay, that's great. What are you going to do about it?
Yeah.
Instead of trying to go fix the problem.
Yeah.
Right? That's sort of the parental part of it.
Yeah.
But think about it. When you were at Avon, there were 2 phones in the whole dorm. Like you were calling your parents when you finally got it.
No,
and that was part of why it was so successful.
Totally.
And I tell parents when they come to Avon, don't look at their grades every day. Let us deal with it. And then when they do call home, just ask them how they're doing and get the information. But then if there's some struggles there, ask them how they're going to solve the problem.
Amazing.
Right? Let them solve their own problems. Because at some point, when they go to college, the dean of students isn't going to answer your phone call, when Johnny's struggling.
No.
Johnny's going to have to figure it out.
Yeah.
Right. And that's really important. And then also to do hard things. Like let your kids have summer jobs, back growth, do some tough things, because those skills will stay with you your whole life. I've looked back at my own personal sort of growth and like doing the painting and cleaning the dorms when I was in prep school and doing it when everybody else went away only helped me get ahead of everybody else.
Same with me.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wouldn't change it for the world.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, I could keep you here all day. I can't thank you enough. And like I said, your impact on me personally and Avon's has been so tremendous. And not just me, every one of my friends. Mm. And we stay in such close contact, as you know,
right,
with every one of our friends. So it's not just me, it's thousands of graduates of Avon Old Farms. So I can't thank you enough, and we're going to do it again.
Yeah, this was awesome. I really appreciate you having me on, and look forward to coming back to South Florida soon.
I'm just happy you're not yelling at me.
Well, that'll be when you come up for the alumni hockey game. Yeah. We're going to go on the bench and coach you again.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Nick.
Thanks for watching the episode. If you like the content we're providing, make sure you click the link on the side for more interesting episodes like this.